Hey everyone, welcome to Taqueando. I'm your host, Bill Esparza, and this week we are talking with author and food and drinks editor of Esquire, Jeff Gordinier. Truly a man about town in the food writing world, the most congenial, hip, like your own personal hub of LA's literary circle. He's host and poetry reader at Funhouse, a gathering of writers, musicians, and other interesting folks in Los Angeles. And today we are talking Esquire's The Best New Restaurants in America 2025. It truly is the year of having a good time. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Bill. It's always good to see you. It really is.
It's always great to see you. And I have to say, you're my probably my best new friend. Like if we're doing lists, one of my best new friends in the last year?
Yeah, I think we're officially good friends now. And I just saw you at the Maidan Market at Malena. You were getting some pozole. I was getting some tacos with my son.
Yeah.
Visiting from Colorado. And it just seems like a natural LA thing to see street gourmet LA there, to see Bill Esparza, and Toby was like,
yeah,
wait.
When you go for a pozole, I'm there.
Yeah, it's just like you haven't really been to LA unless you've rubbed elbows with Bill at a restaurant. So, yeah, I grew up here. I grew up in the Pasadena area and moved back in July of 2024, and I'm just loving being back. I don't need the GPS, man. I know where stuff is.
No, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have a pass on the transplant argument.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm grandfathered in, so to speak, because like I am from here. So, it just, last night I was over at Herman's new restaurant, sort of at the border of Herman and Highland Park, and I realized I know this road. I know these roads really well. It's on Monterey. If you follow Monterey all the way through South Pass to San Marino, that's my hometown. So
yeah,
it just feels
stomping grounds.
Yeah, it feels good to be back in these places, and it doesn't necessarily feel nostalgic. It just feels like home, It's especially at night. It's like I'm familiar with the night air and the way things feel, and it's just like, all right, okay, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it's part of your whole life of basically moving with the tide. You were in New York I would say at a time that New York was the center of dining in America, and it has become for a lot of people. I'm in agreement with this, but Los Angeles in recent years, and so now you're here. Like you're just like you're at all the right places. You go to the right places at the right time.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I try. I go to some wrong places too. I just don't post about them.
Sure.
There's lots of misfires, but I just do. A lot of it is just listening and talking to people like you. Talking to Bill Addison and my friend Kelly. Just talking to people who know what's happening. I'm not like omniscient, of course. It's really just, it's the same as reporting. It's the same as being a reporter as a journalist,
Yeah.
It's like, where you been? What did you think? You know what? I'm going to have to make an effort to try that. Like you and I and a couple other friends, Karen Palmer from SFK, we went to Tomat out by LAX.
Right.
And, and I thought, I wasn't quite sure if that was going to be essential to visit, but I was just so charmed by it. I mean, we just had so much fun, and then I found myself going back. Anytime I had to pick somebody up at LAX, because it's an all-day restaurant, I would go to Tomat to get like a sandwich or get some pastries or get an early dinner and I was like, gosh, I just love the feeling in here, and I love everything I taste. So then that becomes a sense. You get a sense of knowledge that this. Oh, you know what? This is an Esquire Best New Restaurant.
Right.
I keep going back to it. It's that simple. It's like
I'm at like you come to that realization. I'm in a Best New Restaurant.
And it has purpose. They have like this whole mission, regenerative mission, and sort of zero waste. They're very fermentation forward. They have a unique point of view, and the fact that they have this unique farm to table point of view, 2 blocks literally from a runway at LAX. We stood in the parking lot and watched planes land. And I thought that the uniqueness of that story amplifies it and makes it even more of a contender to me.
It absolutely does. Well, I like I like that you're very open about the process. I think in the past, I mean, obviously many publications do annual
Yeah,
lists that are famous. Of course, we have the 101 best restaurants coming up
yeah,
for Bill Addison and Jen Harris at LA Times. So we always look forward to these things. They're a great way to celebrate the current of restaurants. But you just what you said right now, that it's a journalistic
mm,
process. I think a lot of people get this wrong impression from past writers that did not share their
yeah,
process. And so for you, it's doing what journalists do. It's talking to people, trying to find out what's happening, what people are talking about, what people are interested in. Is that really a big part of how you come up with this list of 33
yeah,
restaurants?
absolutely. I mean, I don't individual. I don't. I'm not the only one who travels, right? So I mostly focused on the West, and
Right.
and then I'm in New York and Philadelphia and places like that for conferences or to catch up with old friends. But Joshua David Stein does most of the real traveling around the Midwest and places all over And then Amethyst Ganaway chimes in from the South. I did years ago do the Esquire Best New Restaurants list by myself, Bill,
Wow.
and it just about killed me. I would not recommend it for a man in his 50s. Like, not just the intake of calories, but the endless travel and the fatigue.
Yeah.
Um, so having a small team makes it more doable. And even then, to be transparent, there are places we miss. We don't have an unlimited budget, of course, and we don't have unlimited time. So there you'll sometimes see a city,
Right.
representatives from that city complaining that they didn't get a shout out. And to be candid with you, I hear them. I feel that. Sometimes there's cities like Minneapolis and Cincinnati that have incredible food scenes, and we can't go every year. Sometimes we kind of go every couple of years, and then
Right.
so maybe we'll include a place and we'll be a little bit late because like maybe we'll go back, 2026, and there's a place everyone loves. It's a year old, but that's okay. We're flexible with the opening dates, and we're more interested in excellence than we are about being strict about well, you didn't open before Labor Day or something.
Right.
There are places that are like that. Like like, I mean, technically, Bill, we do like between Labor Day of this year and Labor Day of last year, you opened technically. So like places that open after September 4th or thereabouts, we consider for next year's list.
Right.
But it's not that simple because like some places we didn't get to in time, and then we start hearing more about them and realize that it's worth the time and effort and expense to get back there. So like we have a place this year in New York called Bungalow, an Indian restaurant run by Vikas Khanna, one of the great chefs in the world, really. And
Yeah, that's in New York City. I see that's in New York City.
yeah, and it's not brand new. Like the New York Times reviewed it about a year
Right.
ago. We like to be early. All journalists like to be early, but I'm not really competitive about it. I just want to honor excellence and an array of different cuisines and chefs coming from different viewpoints. So I went to Bungalow with some friends in the spring, and I was like, okay, mic drop. This is just one of the best meals I've ever had. There's no way around it. Like it deserves 4 stars from the New York Times, if you ask me. So I was like, I'm just gonna write it up. I don't care if we're a little late.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter that much. We don't want to be like 5 years late, but if you're like, if the restaurant's been open 18 months, it's still a new restaurant. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, we want, your readers, the listeners to this podcast need to understand that, like, let go of these rigid things and and follow the theme of this year. And what Jeff is talking about is to have some fun out there.
Yeah,
And also, there's no such thing as completionism in these types of lists. And 33 restaurants to represent 50 states with all kinds of incredible dining. Yeah, no one's going to cover everything right all the time. And I think that's the wrong way to say it. You're always going to miss things, as you say, but the point is to highlight. You highlighted 33 restaurants, and
yeah.
these are 33 restaurants for your consideration.
Yes, and different price points. You know, there's some are fancy, expensive tasting menus.
Yes.
Some are really, really casual and cheap. Different types of cuisine from around the world. Chefs at different points in their career. I mean, you know, I'm very excited to include Kizaki, which is an omakase sushi place in Denver. And the chef Kizaki, I mean, he's nearing 70, and he and his brother essentially established the Japanese restaurant scene in Colorado over the course of 40 years, which is a beautiful thing. And then at this point, 41 years in, 40 years in, he decided, you know what? I want to stand behind the counter and create like a state of the art omakase experience.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think sometimes the lists err on the side of youth. You know, there's a lot of younger chefs, and I understand that. It's the same in music. It's the same in filmmaking.
Sure.
But we want to honor all generations. We want to honor established chefs. So we want to honor up and comers. You know, so it's kind of this. You know, it's this game of creating the right mix. You know, everyone who does these lists will tell you that.
Yeah. And I'm seeing, you know, looking at the list, I'm seeing themes.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the overall excellence in American dining right now, how fine dining, cultural dining, casual dining has spread all over the United States. I mean, there's a lot of Asian cuisine and fusion types of fusion that resonated with you and